right here to give you an update on all the big wins from this past week by our great Rumpier Sports hosts and members. Our guy Uncle Dunkle led the charge with over 40K in NFL winnings for Week 16. Huge congrats to longtime RPS member D-Rock for his 24K NBA hit on Christmas. The Lil Jordan Humphrey love was strong in the Discord on Monday and led to some huge wins on the Showdown slate. Surprise, surprise, BigT had another big night, pulling in over 100K across sites on the Dolphins Saints Showdown slate. This was just a few days after shipping another 150K in NBA. BigT wasn't the only one repping Rumpier Sports with a big hit. Shout out to Quick on to Cribs, who also took down 24K on Monday's NFL Showdown slate. Meanwhile, Tway Rich hit for over 35K across sites, and Joseph Swartz shipped 215K on DraftKings. The wins just keep piling up in the RPS universe, which could only mean one thing. There is no better time to join than right now. We've recently teamed with SaberSim to offer a great deal on a combo subscription where you can access all of our content and their great optimizer and projection system for one low price. Head on over to rumpiersports.com to get the deal now and start running here with us.
What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. 8-game slate now. Had the original 9 games. The Miami Heat, the Spurs are canceled. We were talking a little pre-show, and personally, I'm happy that game's canceled because it would have been a chalk fest for sure. 1v1s, 2v2s would have decided everything. And who wants 1v1s and 2v2s to decide everything when we have $1 million up top today? You can't say that every day in the NBA streets. $2,500 entry fee, so it's a little steep. Not a lot of people can play in it, but hey, I saw some RPS logos in there. Some people qualified. Mangone got a qualifier in there yesterday. I saw Tambo got one. So if you're in it, congrats that you're in it. Good luck to you guys. AP, I'll throw it over to you first because when I was scrolling, I saw Andrew Peterson in that little tournament up top. How you feeling tonight?
Yeah, my super creative, username, which is just like
I was going to say, you couldn't
address.
come up with a brilliant name like DraftKings. You gotta throw in your name in there.
Mine's Z-Trivet, so it's not any better from 5 years ago.
No, I signed up, like 5 or 6 years ago now, and I thought you just put your email. Yeah, it is what it is. But no, I qualified a while back. I was just wondering, I'm like, when are they going to run this contest? It's finally here, and yeah, really dialed in. I think we have a fun slate tonight. I agree with you. Title, I'm glad the Heat Spurs is postponed, even though it would have been fun, but man, you would have had a bunch of free squares in that game. So now we have many other really good spots, though. It's going to be a fun slate.
Yep, for sure. DC, gonna go over to you. I know you were in Discord talking about maybe buying in. I personally debated it. Then I got out my calculator. I saw 185 payout. You divide that by 1,009, 18 point something, not even a double min cash. So the math started going in my head, the nerd stuff. And personally, I didn't pull the trigger. I'll stick to MMEing, which I've been working on a little bit, in cash. Did you end up pulling the trigger? And are there spots left? I haven't checked it lately.
I didn't. I assume it's full by now. I was kind of trying to hold off to wait till it could fill up so I wouldn't buy in. And I managed to have the discipline not to do it. It's the same thing. I was talking to AP earlier about it. It's like $2,500 buy-in, almost half the prize pool goes to first place.
Not plus EV.
So unless you either if you get even if you get fourth, you might be kind of tilted because you were so close to first.
Yes.
If you don't cash it, you lost $2,500. That's tilting. So the only way you're not tilting in some way from this tournament is if you win or you min cash, right? And it's just, I don't know. I could just tell it would just annoy me in the end. So I decided not to do it. Playing decent volume at FanDuel, DraftKings, and the 555s instead. And I'm feeling good about this slate. Losing the Heat game. I'm usually all about having one of these teams that's just down to 7 or 8 guys. You load the wagons on a normal slate, right? Not during the COVID NBA times, because I think people, they just don't. like those plays that are just like sure to hit, right? Like 42 minutes of Tyler Hero. Some people fade them, and you're just like, all right, you're paying the rake tonight. But on slates like today, where there's just so much news, right? I mean, tons of guys are out. There's so many good plays. I like having one game ruled out, right? It helps me narrow it down. Still think there's plenty of good plays, and this is one where I'm feeling good about my lineups right now, and I'm kind of hoping that somehow we make it the next 2 hours and 10 minutes without a ton more news, because I like what I have. I'm sure there'll be more news that shakes things up, but I'm liking the slate and excited to talk about it and for DFS tonight for sure.
I hate to break it to you, but I would be completely shocked if your lineup right now is the same lineup in 2 hours and 10 minutes.
But a man can dream. A man can dream, Tyler.
Man can dream. Maybe 3 years ago, I'd be saying you have a chance. Definitely nowadays, we'll see. But a man can dream. I mean, we look at the injury report right now. The questionable tags, like what? Malcolm Brogdon questionable, Marcus Smart, Josh Richardson, Emmanuel Quickly. Like, those guys aren't the biggest of names as we've seen recently, but who knows? People pop up out of nowhere.
Josh Richardson is not going to change my lineup. I'll tell you that much.
It's pretty much Smart and Brogdon. So, yeah, I mean, of all days, maybe this is the day, but we see stuff pop up all the time after lock and all that. So, up to lock show, always important this time of year. With everything going on, this show will get through everything. If any news pops up, we'll break it down. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us in chat. As you can tell, Title is also in health and safety protocols, which is why the Heat game is canceled. I got the call. I told them I was also in health and safety, and I couldn't make my debut for the Heat today. So that game's off. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. Appreciate you guys looking at that lamp. No lighting right now in Wisconsin, but
real quick, Title. Are you concerned? But Big T's been in the gym playing basketball. I bet on you the first time you pulled out the upset. You shipped DC some cheese. I appreciate it. I might be switching sides to Big T. He's getting in shape. He's got the size on you. You concerned about this at all?
Yeah, not a chance. Am I concerned? I could. I'll just say that, yeah. Not concerned at all. Underdog the most. I don't think I was ever an underdog person.
No, me neither. Not the first time, but
yeah. No, this time minus 1,000 favorite, I'll say. But hey, Big T. I will hope we get the good Big T. I know Big T's been talking. I saw you listening to you on the show. Disappointed you jumped off. I mean, free cheese. You don't usually hate free cheese, but now you're jumping off. That's fine. But Big T, I hope he's in better shape. It'll be fun. Appreciate you guys all in chat. Craig Toe, though, he says he got 2 tickets today. What else we got? Donna said, I won 2,500 ticket last night. Super nervous. There's no reason to be nervous, Donna. You got 2 hours. We'll walk you through it. We got core plays, the playbook, everything. Good luck to you tonight. Good luck, everybody in it. And if you're not in, I mean, we had a lot of good wins yesterday. I saw 2. Tons of members up top. Mangone absolutely smashed. Tambo. So let's get into the members never win, which they won over $1.9 million last week. Starting with coordinators, Dunkel won $40,000. Usually on the bet side, but he's dabbled in DFS for a while. People know him as a bets guy. He gets in the DFS streets. $40,000 to Dunkel, $150,000 for Big T in the NFL streets. Big T, the heater comes as we've seen it. When it comes fast, it comes often. He's on a heater, $150K. Quick on to Cribs, $24,000 in NFL. T-Wee E. Rich, I know I botched that name. I know Mangone and Hoop did as well, but $35,000 in NFL. He's always in Discord too. Shout out to you, big win. D-Rock, our man, $24,000 in NBA on Christmas Day. He gave back a $100 ticket to members. Shout out to you, D-Rock. Hope everything's going well. Big win over there. And then Big T, $100,000 in NBA too. Like I said, the heater's starting for Big T. Last one, Joseph Schwartz, the big boy, $215,000 in NFL with Miami defense as captain. The guy's absolutely nailed that showdown show. So shout out to you, Joseph Schwartz. Tons of other members won too in the Discord. Shout out to you guys. 8 games. It's a fun slate. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit the like button for us, please. Hit the subscribe button for us. And I say we dive right into it. 8 games. The first game on the slate. 2 games lock at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers. It's a 226.5 total, which is pretty big nowadays. Indiana is favored by 4. Going to go through the injury report. Malcolm Brogdon is questionable, like I said, on Indiana. That's the biggest news on this slate right now. If he's out, Karis LeVert gets a bump. Miles Turner, Sabonis price is crazy though, so I doubt I get there. Probably LeVert the biggest bump. As far as the Charlotte side, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington are still out. I'll go to you, AP. What are you seeing in this game?
Yeah, this game is one where the Pacers appear to be, fully healthy, especially if Brogdon's back. While the matchup is good, typically, for the guys in the paint there, Sabonis is typically the biggest guy that benefits in a nice matchup against the Hornets. He's 10-7. Like 10-7 and, 7 p.m. lock. Like in today's COVID world, I mean, news could continue to come throughout the night. Like, do you really want to pay that tag for him this early on? I don't. I'm going to be off them.
Why is he 10-7? Why is he for no reason? Like last year, sure. This year, he has not been the same Sabonis. That price is crazy.
Yeah, there have been some weird prices. It continues to happen. So sometimes, they're getting it right. Other times, you get these weird, Sabonis, almost 11K. I don't really get it, but it is what it is. Easy fade. The best way to attack the Pacers has been through opposing shooting guards, which is interesting because you have two primary ball handlers at various times throughout the game for the Hornets, Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball. They kind of stagger those two guys. I like Rozier here at 6'4". I still don't know if I want to use that spot so early on for a guy that's on a relatively healthy team. So I do understand, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, I believe are still out. But still, they got Hayward, Rozier, Ball, Kelly Oubre, and then Jalen McDaniels, who's been a really nice kind of supporting cast type piece for them. Not really in play for me. Cody Martin, another guy, supporting cast type guy, and not interest there. The one risk, like with LaMelo, and I'm kind of focused on one lineup tonight. I only have one ticket. Like, we've seen him lose minutes to Ish Smith at times. Like, do I really want to risk that on this slate? Especially when Terry Rozier is also playing really good. I think if I were to play one Hornets guy, it would be Rozier tonight. Honestly, even though I could see this game going over, I think there's enough pieces available here to where we don't need to play anyone.
Yep, definitely makes sense. Good points there. Dakota in chat said, what about thoughts on Sabonis on Yahoo at $38? I've been playing a lot of Yahoo too. Yeah, sign me up for Sabonis at $38. The equivalent to 10-7 over there is probably like 53. So always good looking in between all the sites. Yahoo, $38 for sure. Sign me up in a good matchup. 10-7 is a little more difficult. If it was a slate like yesterday where, we always have value on these slates. Yesterday, there was infinite value in the 3K range. If you want to get different and spend up for a Sabonis, raw points, hope he breaks it, it's fine. But definitely do prefer him on Yahoo. DC, go to you, talk about this game. And then any Mason Plumlee love coming off the big 40 piece. Definitely a lot tougher matchup this time around, though, against Houston and anybody else you see in this game. Yeah,
probably not going to Plumlee. Against Houston, good play, but price is up and obviously a much tougher matchup against Turner and Sabonis down low. I think AP covered most of it. This isn't a game that I just myself really haven't much exposure to. I think I totally agree. If I was going to play one Hornet on DraftKings, would be Terry Rozier just at that price point. I think he's the best bet, capable of a big game, and the floor seems pretty nice with him, right? With a couple of these guys out. So I have no problem with that. Last guy in your lineup, if you've got that much left for a spot that Rozier fits, that's cool. But I do lean, and we talk about it every day now on these shows. If given a choice between two players, and their projection could be, I'll even take a player with I think is a slightly less projected player in a later game, just for more flexibility, and because you can potentially gain a lot more, right, on your kind of projected score, if you want to call it that, if you can make a swap to a player for news that we don't expect, basically. So I'm always trying to lean later players. Backloading, I think, is a good strategy in general. And, in certain situations, I'll load up on an early game if there's some can't miss spots, but this isn't one of those spots. These aren't can't miss players here. One play I do like specifically on FanDuel, wouldn't play LeVert at 9,100 on DraftKings, but at 6,600 on FanDuel at shooting guard, if Brogdon's out, of course. No interest if Brogdon's in, but if Brogdon's out, I mean, that's a $2,500 difference there. And he's earned that price tag to some extent on DraftKings. I mean, back-to-back 50 burgers basically from LeVert. He's been balling. Seems like he's kind of found his rhythm, but that's obviously all contingent on Brogdon sitting out. But if Brogdon's out, yeah, LeVert, 6,600 on FanDuel. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, very good point there. I'm on the FanDuel cash chart. I put LeVert's name there.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Sabonis, like looking at all the sites, even if you just play on DraftKings, looking at all the sites and looking at the price differences is definitely a sharp way to go, I think. I mean, like if you wanted to play Caris LeVert on FanDuel, he'll absolutely be 0% owned. I'm not recommending that. I don't think
you mean on DraftKings because he's not.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry. If you play him on DraftKings, know he's going to be unowned. And if you play him on FanDuel, you'll know the ownership's there, but then he makes him a good play on FanDuel. Also think you brought up really good points about, if you're in a coin flip decision and one guy locks at 7 p.m. Eastern, one guy locks at 10 p.m. Eastern, give me the 10 p.m. Eastern guy every single time and more flexibility. Because like you said, it only takes one piece of news, one guy to go to health and safety protocols, and then you get the swaps. You can go and get the guys that you want that benefit from that team, and your projection on paper is going to be way higher
especially if you have a lot of later game players, right? Because then you have the full flexibility to move all the way around based on the news. If you're going in on a bunch of early game players in your lineup, then whatever, if you can't.
And probably the first to stack it probably is how you do it.
Exactly. But if you're mostly backloading, then getting another additional player on a coin flip projection, like you said, if you can't decide between two guys, go with the later guy. Give yourself flexibility to move around based on news, or maybe based on what other players do in early games, and maybe you need to make some swaps up the chalk if you weren't on some popular players that did well early. So just, especially right now, having flexibility is a big advantage.
Yep. Very sharp point. Wanted to reiterate that. Let's get into the next game, the second game that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern. The New York Knicks, the Detroit Pistons, 214 total. The Knicks are favored by 7.5. And man, I mean, so many injuries on this Detroit side. Cade Cunningham, Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, Trey Lyles, Corey Joseph, Saban Lee, Rodney Magruder, Kelly Olynyk, Josh Jackson. All of them are out. We go to the Knicks side. Quickly out, Derrick Rose out, Nerlens Noel out, Daniel House out. That's a lot of names for sure, especially on the Pistons side, and it's impossible to ignore all this value. I'm expecting Derek Walton Jr. to slide in at the point guard. Think he's a fine play at 3.4K. Luka Garza, 3.5K. He only saw 20 minutes last game, but had a ridiculous 35% usage rate. The guy's going to shoot it. He shot 14 times when he was in, put up 31 DK points. I think he makes for a very strong play with a lot of upside. There's Hamidou Diallo and there's Cheikh Diallo. I prefer Hamidou Diallo. He's 6.2K. Think he's a good play on both sites. DC, your boy Kemba Walker, he was your boy for a little while until last night when we were talking, kind of buried some good lineups. I'll throw it to you, DC. What are you seeing in this game?
Man, I'm normally a kind of avoid the Pistons type of guy. I just don't find myself playing these guys a lot. And frankly, I'll probably go back to that strategy for the most part. I mean, Saddiq Bey, I'm not paying $7,900 for Saddiq Bey. Hamidou Diallo, been balling and can kind of, I think can play in this role, but 6,200. Now you're talking about you need 35, 40 out of him probably, honestly, on this particular slate. So a little expensive. It's probably the cheap guys I would go to from Detroit. I think Luke Garza. Yeah, I mean, 31 fantasy points in 20 minutes. Really, really strong college producer. Like he can perform when given the opportunity, and matchups not too bad. Knicks missing Noel, so they're down a couple big men. And then I do think you have to consider Walton Jr., who played 31 minutes in his debut last game. Didn't go that well. 19 fantasy points. Didn't hit a shot. Didn't score a single point, but put up 19 fantasy points anyway. 6 assists. He had 11 potential assists. He was a primary ball handler, so he's going to be in that role. It seems like they just don't really have anyone else to do it. So I think he's got. I don't want to say he has a floor, but if he's playing well, I mean, he's the guy for them basically at this point in terms of just running the offense and all that. And he did it for one game. They lost by 30, 35 points, but I don't know. I think he's interesting at 3,400. Again, I'm not sure I want to lock someone in that early, but I could see a build where I end up on Walton Jr. and just hoping he, taking what? I mean, probably 30 to 35 minutes from a point guard. That's pretty nice at 3,400, right? Like you can roll the dice with that if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. When you say it like that, I mean, him and Jackson are pretty much the only ball handlers. The thing with this Walton guy, like I wouldn't say he really has the floor necessarily. I mean, so he's a good assist guy. He played at Michigan for the people that watch college basketball. He doesn't shoot a ton. He shot 5 times last game in 30 minutes. I'm expecting that kind of be the same. He does try and fight for rebound. He's a hard player. The assists are mainly what he does. He has the ball in his hands. He sets up the offense. So I'd be shocked to see 35 plus, but sometimes with these prices, it's opportunities we see in DFS. Minutes and opportunity for this cheap, and it'll get you a stud. You definitely have to consider him. But the floor and ceiling, I mean, if I was told he was 70%, let's say, in GPPs, which I highly doubt he's 70%, there would be no way I'd play him at 70%. 20%, sure, it's a little different there. So, AP, what are your thoughts on Walton Jr.? Because cheap price tag, I think some ownership will be there. Talk about Garza, anybody on the Knicks side.
Yeah, he's a guy I want to lower that projection. Yeah, I mean, they're thin, but the thing is that worries me is like we've seen it with Dwayne Casey. If he has 10 available guys tonight, which it looks like he should have 10, exactly 10, all 10 are going to play. And the other thing, too, is like Derek Walton did not get the blowout run last game. When he's on the court with Frank Jackson, it's going to be in Frankie Jackson's hand. And this team just, man, they're, likely going to get blown out again here tonight. Even though the Knicks haven't been blowing teams out this season, they should be able to blow out this Pistons team that is just absolutely atrocious. I'm really worried about Luka Garza's rotation too. Like like he can crush it on a per minute basis. I just like when you look at that rotation, I mean, there's some major concerns there. You would think traditionally in this spot, a guy like that would be locked into at least 25 minutes. I'm just not sure that's the case. The other thing that has me concerned is how good Mitch Robinson's finally playing on defense. This dude has been a beast. If you just go and look at the last few matchups, he shut down a lot of really good opposing centers. And so, man, it's just a lot of concerns here, in my opinion, on the Pistons side. My last point is like, man, do I really want to let like a dude from the Pistons like tilt me tonight? I personally don't. So you know what? If one of them beats me, they beat me. I'm probably going to be underweight unless we get some sort of like coach speak where they're like, no, we want to look at Walton for some reason, which I just don't see being the case. I'm probably going to be under. The best like matchup straight up, if you do want to target a Pistons, I think you have to go Sadiq Bey. I think he's going to be very low owned or should be low owned at that price tag, but he's the guy. If they're going to keep this game close, it's going to be on like his shoulders. So like he's the one guy that definitely has some upside. I just don't like it. I think this is a good spot for Thibs to like, lock down his guys on defense, shut down this Pistons team and move on.
Yeah, 7.5 seems pretty low to me. I mean, I'm not hoop. I'm not giving out rocking chair winners like Denver last night, but 7.5 for the Knicks. I would be shocked.
Title, I got to take credit for that one. We can't let Hoopster take the credit for that one. I told him the Nuggets were going to win, and the side was going to cover, obviously. And me and him, he since he's in Michigan, I can't bet in my communist state, so he threw in some action for us, and they were up. I mean, they were crushing this whole game.
Oh yeah,
and then they made us sweat right at the end, but. No, I think he put in 3 times the amount I put in. So he obviously did very well last night.
No, that is my bad. Because even on the cash show yesterday for NFL at 1, Hoop said that you were on the Nuggets and that he got on because of you. So Hoop said it on the show. AP gets the original credit. Props to you both, you guys, though. That was, I mean, what if Iguodala hit that shot to send him to OT and they lose by 9? Wouldn't that have been one of the most brutal beats? But good win you guys got through. See everyone in chat. Appreciate you guys ahead. Brittany from Urgent Care she's at a rapid COVID test waiting for right now. Stopped in to hit the like button for us. Brittany, we appreciate it. Hope you do well. If Brittany's can hit the like button for us, we hope everyone can hit the like button. 460 watching, 133 likes. Hit the thumbs up for us, please. 8-game slate, $1 million up top. Hoping to see an RPS member, RPS logo get up there. So hit the like for us. We appreciate it. Let's get into the next game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the only game that locks at 7:30. The Clippers, the Boston Celtics. Boston is favored by 6.5. We have a 210.5 total. As far as the Clippers side, Paul George out. Reggie Jackson was out, and I just saw that he got upgraded to doubtful. Not really sure what that means. He's conditioning, so he's now out of health and safety protocols, out for conditioning, now doubtful. We'll have to monitor that. I don't know. Doubtful means he shouldn't play, though. Let's go with that. Batum out, Brandon Boston out, Hartenstein out. As far as the Boston side, Tatum, Schroeder, Ennis Freedom, Aaron Nesmith are all out. Marcus Smart, Josh Richardson are questionable. Like every game, laundry list on the injury report. AP, I'll go to you. What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, I was laughing at that too. Like it's funny when we do this enough. We do it every single day. I would wager that 99% of the time someone's doubtful, they're out. The other thing I would wager is if he midday went from doubtful to questionable, I would say 97% that he was going to play. So it's funny kind of picking up on these cues. I mean, doubtful, just list them out. Like, I don't get it. Every day LeBron is on the injury report. Like, it's like he just has to be on there. We all know he's going to play. Like, just remove the tag. I mean, it makes no sense. Probable? Yeah, probable is like guaranteed to play. So I could go on a rant. The whole injury thing is just, hilarious, especially when we're dealing with all this COVID stuff. I mean, make it a little bit easier on us, especially a guy like Reggie Jackson. Like, I don't know, he should be able to play like 24, 26 minutes. He's a fit dude, but I digress. Man, like, you would think that the Clippers would be an elite spot over the past few games since their team is battling COVID stuff. But man, Ty Lue just finds ways to like play these funky rotations. He's kind of like an in-game adjustments coach, really big on matchups and stuff. I tried to highlight that in the Discord because if you've watched their most recent games, Zubac, these bigs, they're fine going small. The last time they played Boston, however, when Boston had Horford and Big Bob Williams, they had to go big. They had to have a big on the court at all times. Hartenstein or Zubac were the guys at that time. We have no Hartenstein tonight. The only other big is Ibaka. So it's going to be really interesting. I struggle to pay 5.2 for Zubac. I think it's really risky. Like, a guy who's in the 5K range, I want him to have 40-plus upside. And I just don't think that – I just don't know if he's the type of player to have that. I think if you think like if they have a big on the court at all times, and if you think they hold Zubac to around 25, 26 minutes, you got to think that Ibaka gets, maybe closer to 20 there. I still think it's risky. I don't know if I'm going to go there. I'm not an Eric Bledsoe guy. We've seen him have a very high ceiling, also has a very low floor. I don't want to play him. Honestly, I would love for Reggie Jackson to come in and play on a limited minute basis, because then we could just easily fade this Clippers team, which is what I want to do tonight. I do have more interest in the Celtics side. So Jaylen Brown, one, we got to keep an eye on Marcus Smart. If Smart is out, Pritchard is just, I think you brought him up the last on Monday. Absolutely phenomenal play. Love the matchup here. This Clippers team hasn't been as good defensively, especially against opposing backcourts and wing type players. So like Jaylen Brown, I think he's going to fly under the radar here when he was, massive chalk against the Timberwolves. And I think if you just look at what these guards have done lately against this team, they've been in beneficial spots, which is Brown is in right now, but I know I have the numbers. So Harden, obviously he was by himself, but went for 77, Halliburton 53, DeJounte Murray 72. Just a few recent scores against this Clippers team. I think Jaylen Brown is a phenomenal tournament play tonight at 10K. Ownership is going to be somewhat down at that price tag. And then we got to keep an eye on the Marcus Smart news. I'm probably going to avoid Horford and Bob Williams. I do tend to think that they take away from each other when they're on the court at the same time.
Yeah, I think Brown's going to go overlooked too. I mean, 10K for Jaylen Brown, you think it's expensive, and it definitely is, but the minutes 39 minutes, 37, 35, he shot 24, 18, 22, 22, 21. He's got all the rain in the world, 37% usage last game. It's above 30 most games. He's going to be lower owned, and we talk about looking at the different sites and pricing. He's $33 on Yahoo, where he is 10K on DraftKings. So Yahoo, he's a very, very strong play. Ownership should reflect that. DraftKings should be lower owned. I think it makes sense. He definitely has a ceiling. As far as Bledsoe, we talk about different prices. 5.5 on FanDuel, 6.4 on DraftKings. Think he's a better play on FanDuel. Anytime if he's chalk, though, if Eric Bledsoe's chalk, I just will never play Eric Bledsoe chalk in tournaments. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. Think this is the lowest total on the slate. I think this could be a stay away game, kind of, if the news breaks Marcus Smart plays and stuff like that. If he's out, of course, Peyton Pritchard, complete stud, and other guys get a bump. DC, I don't know how much meat we left you on the bone, but how are you seeing this game?
Yeah, I guess covered most of it. If a lot of this game honestly depends on if Marcus Smart plays. To me, if he is out, Peyton Pritchard 5K and DraftKings becomes a very high priority play. Someone that's probably going to end up, frankly, on my main lineups. Jaylen Brown gets a bump at that point too. If Smart is out, I still like Jaylen Brown regardless on FanDuel at 8,800, but I don't know if I'd be willing to pay the 10K price tag on DraftKings if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown's the primary scorer on this team with Tatum out. He's got massive upside, right? The primary scoring types, like if Jaylen Brown gets hot and is having his way in this game, I mean,
70.
Yeah, he could drop. That's what I'm saying. 40 real points is, I think, a somewhat realistic outcome for him. So he's in play regardless, but especially like his price on FanDuel. And again, especially if Marcus Smart is out. And then Eric Bledsoe on the other side. I get it, not being a Bledsoe guy, but this team, this is dependent on Reggie Jackson missing out, which obviously listed doubtful. We kind of assume he will. But missing George, missing Jackson. I know Bledsoe wasn't super great in the last game, but it was because they got blown out. He missed like the last 18 minutes of the game, didn't get the minutes. Wasn't really because of him. He played fine. It produced in his minutes. But I don't like him as much as Marcus Smart is playing, right? Smart, a terrific on-ball defender who I think would have a much better chance to slow down Bledsoe than Pritchard would, right? And I think it would be Smart on Bledsoe. So that's a concern for me. I probably won't play Bledsoe if Smart is in. Definitely not on DraftKings. 5,500 on FanDuel, I'm still interested. If you look at like his numbers, like in terms of just how often he's initiating the offense, passes made, time with the ball, those types of things with Jackson and Paul George off the court these last 3 games, it's constant. Bledsoe's the man in this offense if Jackson's out. So I think his upside remains intact. Tough matchup, but if they're going to get anything done in this game, the Clippers, that is, it's going to be through Eric Bledsoe for the most part. So I'll take a shot on a $5,500 guy on FanDuel who, if they're going to play well, he's got to play well. And those guys typically have a lot of upside. Those are the guys I like to roster when they're thrust into a situation like Bledsoe is now, where normally, he's like the 4th or 5th option on offense on the team. Now he's number 1. He's the dude. So I'll take a shot on that if Jackson is indeed out.
Yeah, no, I omit my bias right away. Eric Bledsoe, like he's in a great spot. 5.5 is really cheap. So get some ownership, rightfully so. He just put up 50 2 games ago. Yeah. So he definitely has a ceiling. I fully admit my bias early, but he makes some sense. Jaylen Brown, Yahoo, great play. Tournaments will be low owned on DraftKings, but he definitely does have a ceiling.
Yeah.
I think that's enough of that game. Saw somebody in chat, Eric McCormick goes, I just took down the dollar tournament and got $2,000 ready to make some more. Attaboy, Eric, $1 into $2,000. What an ROI that is. Congrats.
Hopefully you didn't deposit 500 more and enter the 25.
I hope not. don't be doing that. I still remember my favorite win of all time was years ago. $5 into 15. I think it was 1,500, maybe 2,000. Took down the single entry on FanDuel, and there will never be a win unless I hit the Millie Maker, which I hardly play for him, but that'll probably be my favorite win forever. You don't forget the ones back in the day when you're grinding. Nothing better than Yeah, exactly. I mean, you stay up. It's hard to sleep that day. So that'll always be my favorite win, even if I have a 6-figure win and stuff. But also Nadesify in chat has absolutely been on fire. What has Simon said? He wants to give out a ticket, it looks like. Nadesify wants to give out a ticket. He picked Brittany J in chat. Thank you, Nadesify. Thanks for letting me know, Simon. So live ticket giveaway. Nadesify gave it to Brittany. Shout out to you, Nadesify. He's great mojo. He's been in Discord, in these YouTube chats. Had a big day himself yesterday. Same lineup as Mangone. So Brittany, hope you feel better. Nadesify is giving away a ticket to you. So you can message me on Discord, message each other on Discord, whatever works. We'll figure it out after the show. Shout out to you, though, Nadesify. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. Hit the like for us, please. Hit the subscribe button for us. Time to get into the next game, though. The Los Angeles Lakers, the Memphis Grizzlies, 226 total. Memphis is favored by 6. On the Lakers side, Anthony Davis is still out. Wayne Ellington's probable. Then Kent Bazemore, Rondo, all those guys are out as well. As far as the Memphis side, Dylan Brooks, DeAnthony Melton, and Conchar are all out as well. So we saw yesterday the Lakers went crazy. Perfect matchup against Houston. LeBron triple-double, Westbrook triple-double, Malik Monk went absolutely crazy, who was in AP's core. Think they all make some sense today. As far as the Memphis side, John Morant, I think, is a very good spend up. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson has a good price at 4.6, going to have to play minutes. Desmond Bane. AP, I'll go to you. Talk about this whole game.
Yeah, I mean, this game really sets up to be like such an elite one to target. We know LeBron likes playing on back-to-backs, so like there's no concern there. I think part of the reason is like they don't do shoot around and stuff, so they just get to go throughout their day. And he's in shape. He's going to be definitely fine. I like okay, so this Lakers team, I'm really tempted to go back to what I did yesterday. So I took the Nuggets side. I took their money line. I've been a huge Lakers hater, okay? Like really, really big. They've been atrocious. I've seen some good things lately. I love Malik Monk back. It gives them some shooting, allows them to stretch the floor a little bit. I like the side here. I actually think that they get the win tonight too. So I might go back and hammer that same bet that I had on the Nuggets and use it on the Lakers tonight. I think this is going to be a really fun DFS game. Love John Morant. Love Desmond Bane on the Grizzlies side. In tournaments, you have to have some interest in Jaren Jackson. I think with how the Lakers are running things with LeBron at the 5, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about Steven Adams. Like I'm not playing Steven Adams. I know he's shown some upside on this year. I haven't been playing him, so I'm not going to play him here. But with this Lakers lineup and how they're using LeBron and then they're running, how they're playing small ball, I'm really curious to see what they do with him because I think it's a good game for Jaren Jackson. We do always worry about foul trouble with him. It's a huge concern, but John Morant, Desmond Bane, I think are incredibly safe and really good plays. Outside of that, man, like this rotation is always a concern for me. We see them go deep into their bench, rotate in guys. Part of that is due to, sometimes foul trouble with Jaren Jackson, but absolutely love Bane, Morant. And then, no issues with LeBron. I do think if you want to get, if you want to get different tonight, the way to do it is with Russell Westbrook. I like how they're using him. We've seen triple-double upside now the past few games, and I absolutely love this matchup. If they get Adams out of the paint by running a small ball lineup, you're going to see Russ just absolutely attacking the paint and getting some nice free looks there. I think he could have another triple-double again here tonight. I love going Russ and Monk, John Morant, Bane, if you want to go that for like a stack over like the LeBron route. I'm not going to say don't play LeBron. He's a phenomenal play. He's just been absolutely cooking. I'm just telling you, Russ is going to win some people some money here soon, and I think it's tonight.
Yeah, I like it for sure. Looking at Russ yesterday, very low owned, and it was a different kind of Russ, as you see. I mean, triple-double upside always there. We also got news when we were talking. Malcolm Brogdon ruled out. Jeremy Lamb headed to health and safety protocols. So there's some news we've been looking for. The Indiana Pacers side. AP, I'm going to how about you look into what that does for you a little bit quick while DC talks about this Lakers game. Up to Lock Show will cover it a lot too, but this Pacers side cannot be ignored now for sure. Brogdon and Lamb now out. DC, if you have any initial thoughts on that, you can talk about it, but talk about the Lakers and Memphis side and how you're approaching it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. me and Hoop and man, go and getting LeBron in there. Like, he's just on a mission right now. He's just, this team can't lose any more games. They got to start winning games. And so you see LeBron out there sometimes at the 5, which is a great for his double, triple-double rebound upside, just crushing it. So no problem with LeBron. I especially like him in these types of matchups where he is like clearly the best player on the floor, right? Who does Memphis have to draw LeBron? It's like he's playing the 5. He's going against like Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson, Kyle Anderson. They just have.
It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, they don't have an answer. They don't have a good answer. So LeBron should smash again here. No problem with him. No problem with Russell Westbrook. Point guard is loaded. So Westbrook's not going to make his way onto my teams, but that's probably the way most people are thinking. So you'll get him low owned again if you want to go that direction. So that's the Lakers side. Yeah, Monk. I mean, if you want to go there, he's cheap. Again, probably won't end up there myself, but I have no issue with it whatsoever. And then the Memphis side, I mean, Desmond Bane with all these dudes out, like, Memphis wants to beat the Lakers at home, and they're certainly capable of doing it. I mean, you're probably going to see close to 40 minutes from Bane, given how thin this team is, especially at the 2 and the 3 is where they've still got depth, right? A little bit in the front court. So those guys, I don't think are guaranteed their minutes. Like a Steven Adams type could easily still just play 18 minutes. Jaren Jackson, he's not locked into minutes. But especially Bane, and I think to some extent Kyle Anderson, kind of locked into their minutes here. I just don't really see other options for the Grizzlies to go to, assuming these guys perform reasonably well, which they probably do. This is a bad Lakers team. I know they've been playing better recently, but in terms of their results, they still lost 5 of their last 6 games going down the road, second half of back-to-back. You're telling me you're going to get all these minutes? There's usage to go around on Memphis. So even with Ja Morant back, I really like Desmond Bane and Kyle Anderson. I mean, 4,600. I think you'll see 30-plus minutes out of him. I've been tricked before by Kyle Anderson, so I'm a little hesitant to go back to it, but it just doesn't really seem like they have much choice other than to play him big minutes. Again, unless something weird happens, foul trouble, injury, blowout, whatever. That stuff's harder to predict, obviously, but I think the plan for tonight is for Kyle Anderson to be out there for most of this, vast majority of this game. So take a shot at 4,600 on a guy who's been pretty much a pretty close to a fantasy point per minute producer. He's exactly at a fantasy point per minute this year. That's just kind of who he is. And I think you should project over 30 minutes for him. So at 4,600, you do the math. Looks like a pretty good play to me.
No, I'm with you. I'm expecting a spot start for Kyle Anderson, 4.6K. Desmond Bane can shoot the lights out.
He has to start.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he has to for sure.
If we're somehow wrong and he doesn't, I wouldn't play him. But
I'd get up. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else plan on him starting 4.6K, very strong. Desmond Bane 6'2" upside. Ja Morant 8'8". I think he makes a lot of sense. I like the Grizzlies side personally more than the Lakers side, like a Malik Monk. Can't go wrong playing a LeBron right now with how aggressive he is. I think makes sense. Jaren Jackson's going to be 2% owned, 6.5K. You always worry about foul trouble, but man, that upside is always there. Can break the slate at 6.5. So I think this game is interesting for sure. Not a game you can ignore. Brittany tested negative. Excuse me. What a big difference. Positive and negative are. Tested negative for COVID and found out she got the ticket. Congrats to you. Awesome stuff. Again, Nadesify. AP, did you look into this Brogdon and Lamb situation at all? Like LeVert on FanDuel now just seems like an absolute smash play. 9-1. Do you think it's still a little DC or AP? If any of you guys have some on it, LeVert's going to handle the ball more than likely with the point guard roles. 9-1 still a lot, but man, you got to think upper 30s minutes. Chris Duarte, good price, 5.3. Any of you guys have initial lean on this?
Yeah, so same situation as we saw against the Bulls. They still ran 10 guys out there who got minutes, decent minutes. You're going to see Duarte, Justin Holiday start. You're going to see Torrey Craig, Keelan Martin, those types off the bench. Karis LeVert did play like almost 40 minutes, and the Bulls were handling them that game, the entire game, up by 18 at one point in time. Still got all the minutes and all the usage also. So, on FanDuel, an absolute lock at 6.6. I think he's a very good play. Look, in tournaments, I think price is going to keep ownership down here on DraftKings. In tournaments, I do think they're in play. It's a good matchup. One of the faster paced teams in the league, a team that's not good defensively. Excuse me.
You're good.
We see teams absolutely crush against them. So, in tournaments. So on FanDuel, better plays at cheaper price tags. I'm just struggling to talk, and I'd struggle to pay these price tags for these guys. So I'm really torn. I'm going to lean wait because I think we get an advantage by getting more news if we wait.
Yeah, no, DC, go ahead.
I mean, LeVert, he was in my FanDuel lineup already at 6,600. I was planning to play him. He's not coming out at this point. Just too high of upside at that price point.
What about Sabonis at 8,400? Boats and Hose in Discord. What about him on FanDuel, 84?
Yeah, he still wouldn't be a priority to me. It does seem a little bit like I said, that 10-7 price tag on DraftKings isn't really justified. I mean, it should be 8-7 on DraftKings too. So I'm not really don't really think it's a $2,000 discount on FanDuel. It's more like he's $2,000 overpriced on DraftKings to me. So fine play on FanDuel if you land on him, but not a guy that is going to be a first guy in. LeVert would be though, or will be on FanDuel. 91 on DraftKings. I mean, still a good play if you want to go that direction. If he fits your lineup, no problem with it. This is a perfect style of game for what he provides. Up and down, at home, against the Hornets, going up against LaMelo. I mean, and he's been playing well. So I expect LeVert to ball out in this game, frankly. So I think he's a good play wherever. You get him low on, that's cool too.
Yeah, 27 on Yahoo. Yahoo and FanDuel will be owned 9.1K. I mean, I wouldn't be scared of him. Like if you get him at 2% owned, he has that upside. Now without Brogdon Lamb, upper 30 minutes, he's showing that 50 plus upside. I think it is very interesting. Ian, Kiefer Sykes title. Man, I haven't heard that name. I had to look at what team he's on. He's actually on the Pacers. Kiefer Sykes, good old Green Bay guy from Wisconsin. No Kiefer Sykes today, Ian, but I appreciate throwing out a name I haven't heard in a long time for sure. Let's get into the next game. Glad we talked about Brogdon Lamb news. Very, very big on this slate. And that's pretty much, Marcus Smart news is now the biggest news we're waiting on. And obviously anything can pop up as we go along. Up to Lock Show, very important. If you're not a member, I don't know what you're doing. Up to Lock Show. I think we got a new special host today for the people. So make sure to tune into that. Next game, Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, 227 total. Chicago is favored by 8. We look at the injury report. I pull up Atlanta's. It looks like they got like 12 guys out. John Collins, Bogdanovich, Dieng, Herter, Wright, Gallinari, TLC, a couple other guys that I don't never really play, or like Lou Williams has been out for a little while. Going to the Bulls side, Lonzo Ball, Caruso, Tony Bradley, all out. DC, I'll go to you. What are you seeing in this game?
I mean, to me, this is like Trae Young in this spot. Just no other playmakers or ball handlers. Like if you go to point guard, whose two backups are I.B. Watson and A.J. Lawson, both who haven't played a minute yet. There's Skylar Mays there who will, I assume, Skylar Mays / Lance Stevenson, run the point in the 8 minutes or whatever it is that Trae Young's off the court. But man, when he's on the court, it's going to be all Trae Young. He's going to be bombing from deep all game long in this one. Like you look at, like he did it last game too. It didn't end up that well, kind of flukily. He didn't, get any defensive stats. He only shot 8 for 23 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. Only got 1 rebound, but played 40 minutes. And I just think Trae Young is going to smash here, honestly. So he's a play that I want to get, especially on FanDuel, 9,700. I'll pay the 11K tag on DraftKings too. Don't get me wrong, but especially on FanDuel, he's a priority play for me. I just see a potential massive ceiling for him here, given who he's playing with. You take Bogdanovich out of it too. That's the only other guy that could really do a lot of playmaking on the court. Even Cam Reddish, if you look at like what he did last game, like monster game, right? But it was all shooting, which is all would be Trae Young assists. I mean, Reddish, I think had just like 1 or 2 assists in that game. Like I think he had 3 or 4. He had 0 assists. in 40 minutes last game. He didn't have the ball. If you can look up the numbers. He didn't have the ball. It was all Trae Young. Trae Young had 29 potential assists last game, like 28 drives to the basket. This is going to be the same, but now Bogdanović is out too. So I love Trae Young here. A smash play for me. But that's pretty much it from the Hawks. I'm not going to the other guys. I think Trae Young's going to do all the damage. So that's where I'm looking. Chicago side, I don't find myself going to a lot of these dudes, but just because they're expensive. Zach LaVine, 10.1, DeRozan 9.6, and Vucevic 9.0. That's hard for a team with three guys over 9K, right? When there's we got a big three. You don't get a discount on any of them. So I'm not on the Chicago side of it, but I am trying to get as much Trae Young as I can tonight.
Makes a lot of sense. I have Trae Young as my top raw score play on the slate too, even over a guy like LeBron. I think Trae Young is very strong. 11K price tag. I don't think that should scare you off either with this value. Agree with you on the Bulls too. I mentioned Kobe White on Mondays, the only Bull I had a little interest in. Knew he'd be 1-2%. I got a lot of flack for it in the chat. He got 23, about 6x. Again, he'd be my favorite. I really don't think you need to go to the Bulls too much though. AP, I'll go to you in this game. Somebody in chat, let me get his name. He said, a prod fresh said, do you guys like LaVine? So talk about the Hawk side, talk about LaVine.
Yeah, one thing about Vucevic, he did so much of his damage when Capella was off the court and in the fourth quarter. He hit like 4 threes in the last 6-7 minutes of that game, and put up a monster number in that fourth quarter. So I think it really feels like he's chasing a little bit if you go that route. Look, if the Hawks stay close here, Clint Capella, Cam Reddish, and Trae Young are all going to have to play 38 plus minutes, probably 40 minutes for Cam Reddish and Trae Young, probably 35 plus for Clint Capella. But look, they have no other bigs, at least no other bigs that they want to give decent minutes to. Gorgie Jang is out. I think they used Gorgie Jang maybe to try to track down Vucevic a little bit better last game. Did not work at all. Capella was more effective. Maybe Capella was a little bit gassed in that one, but one thing I do worry about is when I'm looking at Trae Young, the assist potential. Can his guys, can he put his guy, can Cam Reddish hit shots? Trae Young will find them. It comes down to him hitting shots. Skylar Mays hitting shots, Chauncey Brown hitting shots. And I think the focal is going to be that pick and roll, which we saw early in the game, in last game. And then the Bulls really focused on shutting that down with Vucevic. And so, man, I worry about the assist rate there. It definitely could be there. And then I worry about Trae Young getting rebounds because at an 11K price tag, you're banking on a 40 real point game from Trae Young, maybe 40, 45, which he is definitely capable of. I just am worried about the rebounds and potential assists. If they keep it close, though, he's going to play 40 minutes. And, he's obviously a good play. But what happens if the Bulls get up? I'm really torn on the spot. I'll be honest. Everything about it, Hawks should have a tight rotation. Everything on paper looks really good. These teams just played. They know each other. They know what they're going to do. The Bulls know exactly what the Hawks are going to be able to do tonight. They have limited options. A lot of shots from Trae Young, Cam Reddish, pick and roll, Clint Capella. So they know defensively what to do. And the Bulls have LaVine, DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic. They're 3 main key guys. They got Kobe White. I think they're getting Derek Jones back, another elite perimeter defender that if Trae Young gets going, throw Derek Jones on him, a really good long defender. So I do see many paths here for bust potential. So the way you play it is if you think the Hawks stay close and potentially win, you're looking at Trae Young, Cam Reddish, Clint Capella. And honestly, maybe it's Clint Capella and Trae Young because I think they're going to have that pick and roll going to keep this one close. If you think there's blow-up potential here and the Bulls can just shut them down after just playing them and beating them in Atlanta, now getting them at home, I don't mind fading it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And maybe look at Chauncey Brown or some of these pump values that are going to have to play 36 minutes.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. If this game blows out, you definitely don't want exposure to this game. 8-point spread definitely could. DC and I think like Trae Young a little more. AP, you still like him, but you're a little more worried. Definitely makes
Trae
sense.
Young's like to me, Trae Young's like I mean, look at him. He has like almost no physical skills. The reason he's so good, he's like a kind of like a basketball savant offensively, right? He can he's just a little dude who can score and create. And I think the fact that they just played each other, I guess I would. Trae Young also knows how they're going to defend the stuff that they did last time. And my side of it would be that I would think he would be the more likely guy to make some minor adjustment to beat the defense that he saw in the last game. So, because the Bulls don't really, I mean, I know Derrick Jones Jr. a good defender, but I don't know. They don't really have that much rim protection with Vucevic, and I think Trae Young can obviously get off his 3-pointer kind of whenever he wants, right? For the most part. So yeah, we'll see. I get what you're saying, AP. I mean, if Chicago blows him out, that's possible.
Well, one thing too, like it comes down to ownership, because like I'm showing, and I don't know what you guys think. Like I'm showing, 35, 40%.
Yeah, I think
it'll be right or wrong.
I think it'll be right. I mean, I have him as my highest raw points on the slate too,
and that's what I'm seeing. So like I kind of want a guy that maybe has a little bit more triple double upside here, which Trae Young could do but I just Clint Capella, Nikola Vucevic, two good rebounders in there. So I'm torn. Good play. I'm just not sold on what I'm going to do yet with this spot.
It makes sense. The appeal is pretty much the lack of bodies the Hawks have. Like even in a blowout, like I think he still plays the 35, something like. I mean, maybe he sits out the last 5 games of the blowout or 5 minutes of the game or something, but like they just don't really have bodies.
If the Hawks get blown out, Trae Young's probably not going to get there. Let's be honest, at 11K.
I mean, yeah, but like how many? I'm counting 10 bodies, and 3 of them I don't know if I've even ever seen the court. Like he's going to have to play all the minutes he can the first 3 quarters. And yeah, I mean, if they put up 50 points, they're not going to get there. But for sure, talked enough about this Hawks game. Do us a favor, hit the 580 watching, 240 likes. We have 3 games left. I'm not going to set a certain number. It's a Wednesday, $1 million up top, good mojo going around. We just appreciate if you do hit the like button for us, please. Goes a long way. Let's get into the next game, though. Oklahoma City Thunder, Phoenix Suns, 219.5 total. The biggest spread on the slate. Phoenix is favored by 14.5. Go to the Phoenix side. DeAndre Ayton's out. Jay Crowder's out. Frank Kaminsky's out. Go to the OKC side. Giddey's out. Robinson Earl's out. Darius Baisley's out. Poku's out. Trey Mann's out. A lot of guys are out on OKC. It's also the second night of a back-to-back. The hero SGA got there last night. Man, I think he shot 10 free throws in the last 3 minutes or 2 minutes. At least that's how it seemed to me. He gets there. Someone in chat was asking about SGA, so I want you guys to talk about him. And then JaVale McGee coming off the bus last game on Monday. I still really think he's a strong play. The industry probably thinks he's a strong play too. He's going to have ownership. We've seen him smash multiple times, but he failed last time. So DC, SGA, JaVale McGee, anything else in this game?
Yeah, I mean, McGee, I was on him last game. I thought he was kind of you never want to say must play, but a very strong play against the Grizzlies. Just foul trouble. He fouled out of the game, 22 minutes, 6 fouls.
Tough matchup. Like Jaren Jackson, Adams, they're so big at Memphis. Is.
Opposite, though, this game. I mean, OKC has just horrible bigs. And McGee's overall numbers, if you look at what he's done with DeAndre Ayton off the court, he smashed it. It didn't work out in one game. Absolutely willing to go back to that well with McGee. The big thing for McGee is I want Chris Paul to be in the lineup because that's what Chris Paul does, right? He gets a mobile big that can dunk lobs, and that big usually crushes whoever it is that CP3 plays with. That's still JaVale McGee. I would expect him to bounce back big time in this game. I will say if you're fading McGee, at least on DraftKings, consider his backup. Jalen Smith?
Jalen Smith, 3.4.
Yeah. I almost mentioned him on Monday when we were talking about this game because we saw this opportunity before back on December 10th, December 16th when Ayton was out. And he got 22, 19 minutes, put up 25, 13 fantasy points, put up 28 last game in 29 minutes. He is McGee's direct backup, and they even played him together a little bit on the court at the same time last game. So if something does happen to McGee again, it will be Jalen Smith out there almost without certainty, given the guys that with complete certainty, I should say, with the guys that Phoenix is missing. And also this game has the highest spread of the day, like you mentioned, title 14.5. Jalen Smith is, again, I would say a near certain to be closing a blowout. If Phoenix is able to get there, you could see him play the last, it comes in with 4 or 5 minutes to go in the third quarter and plays the last 16, 17 minutes. And he's been a very strong fantasy player per minute when he's been given a chance. Against OKC scrubs to end the game, you could see him racking up points in the fourth quarter. So 3,400 on DraftKings. I think Jalen Smith is interesting. He's also power forward eligible, which is a nice bonus. Power forward center eligible. So I'm looking at him. I do like McGee. I wouldn't play both those guys in the same lineup. They're directly competing for minutes, so you got to choose one or the other. But I think both guys actually are pretty strong plays. Probably not going to go to a lot else on Phoenix, frankly. Just give me the two bigs that are going to play likely 48 combined minutes, maybe more, from Jalen Smith and McGee. And then on the OKC side, I was big on SGA yesterday, and he should have had a bigger game, I think. If you look at some of the advanced, it was all SGA. 36 drives, which is, I think, maybe the highest we've seen of any player in the league so far this season. But I'm a little worried about the matchup here. Chris Paul, primary defender, and JaVale McGee, for all his kind of oafishness a little bit, pretty good rim defender. So one prop I bet was McGee over 1.5 blocks. I think he's got a chance because that's their whole offense. OKC is SGA driving to the hole, and that's going to be McGee kind of contesting a lot of their shots, which could get him in foul trouble too. What did we see? SGA take, I think, 17 free throw attempts. So he can draw a foul, which that would be kind of the Jalen Smith route if you wanted to go that way. So for me, the bigs for Phoenix, JaVale McGee, Jalen Smith, one or the other are going to be in most of my lineups, frankly. And then on the other side, SGA, if you think you can overcome the matchup against CP3 and McGee down low, I'm a little worried about the matchup, frankly. But if you think you can overcome it, he is the OKC offense. He's the whole offense. He will be tonight. I just worry that they're going to kind of slow him down a little bit, and this game could get out of hand early on a back-to-back. Maybe the plug gets pulled on the SGA party a little bit early, right? Same thing that could maybe happen to Trae Young, where they're going to be the whole team, and if they're performing well, the team's going to go as they go, and they're probably going to get there. But you worry about a 14.5 underdog, right, when you're paying over $9K for a player.
100%. Yeah, I'm going to take the night off on SGA. I think good play yesterday. He has upside for sure. If the game stays close, he's probably the reason why. But personally, I'm probably not going to get there. I like the Jalen Smith call, though, for sure. He can shoot the three ball. He had 4 threes. He shot 4 threes last game. Stretch 5. He can rebound. I think that's a very good call. Definitely a big ownership discount from McGee. The last guy on the Suns I'll mention, Cam Johnson. I know I mentioned him Monday too. Without Crowder, he slides in the starting lineup at the 4, needs to rebound more, played 36 minutes. I think this whole Phoenix side outside of really McGee gets overlooked. So last name I wanted to throw out there. And then Dustin in chat talked about Booker, 7.6K on FanDuel, 8.4 on DraftKings. Shooting guard's pretty weak on FanDuel too. I'm one of the weaker positions. So I think Booker makes sense at that price tag too. AP, what are you seeing in this game?
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you guys. So these teams just played each other, but OKC was they were playing some good basketball. They were completely healthy as a team. I just do not see them keeping it close here against the Suns. The focal point is going to be SGA. Now, without Giddey there, without some of these other pieces, they can just throw Mikal Bridges on him if they want. There's so many ways that they can just shut this guy down. Sure, he's capable of having a monster game. I'm showing high projected ownership on him and a pretty favorable projection, depending on what site you look at. I'm going to be under on him, definitely fading him in my main build tonight. And I hope he's going to be chalked, because if you play, here's how I look at it. If you play SGA, if you play Trae Young, man, you're fading a lot of really good plays, I think. And so I do hope a lot of people go that route. I will not be on that route. And then, on the Suns side, that's going to take me off of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, kind of playing a blowout script. And the guy I really like is Jalen Smith. Both you guys mentioned him. He's going to get backup run, and then he's going to get blowout run. And he's a guy that can definitely produce stretch 4 type, like Title said. I honestly think like he's a guy that puts up potentially 30 here at 3-4 if we get a blowout script and could be a difference maker. So that is where I'm going in this game.
Yeah, he's a very good fantasy point per minute producer. This game blows out, he gets the run. I mean, he's going to get run regardless too, so it's not like his floor is 0. Definitely think that makes good sense. 3 for 3 on the Jalen Smith, but yeah, wouldn't go too overboard on this game with the blowout. I mean, 14.5, you don't see that too often. Suns, one of the better teams. OKC with injuries.
I almost wanted to bet it too. Like this just has the feels, not the Memphis game, but since they do have SGA, but man, like a 20-point loss. I just can't bet 15-point, sides in the NBA.
Yeah, I would probably take the first half approach there too, because you hate watching the last 2 minutes and then they rattle off 8 quick. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely do like the Suns there. 617 watching, 280 likes. You guys are chugging along. We appreciate it. Hit the like for us. Again, no certain number, but 300 should be pretty easy. Let's get into the next game. 2 games left. Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers, 228 total. Utah is favored by 7. On the Portland side, Nurkic out, McCollum out, Covington out, McLemore out, Dennis Smith out, Cody Zeller out. You go to the Utah, it always makes me laugh. You click on Utah, they just have one guy in the injury report. Donovan Mitchell is out. I know there must not be too much to do in Utah, which is the reason they probably only have one, but sorry if anyone's living in Utah, but probably always makes me laugh. I see a laundry list, every single team. Utah's only got one, but DC, I'll go over to you. Talk about Utah. Talk about Portland.
How many of our current 600 plus watchers do you think live in Utah?
Yeah, I think 0, which is kind of why I said it too. But we'll start seeing in chat.
I'll give it like 3 or 4 maybe, but
we'll see. If you do, you can hammer me in chat for sure.
Yeah. I mean the Utah side, Joe Ingles at 4K, I think is still a fine play. A little bit of a limited upside, right, on such a good slate with so many good plays that I don't know if I'll get there for sure. I don't really see. I mean, Rudy Gobert could absolutely smash in this spot, but again, I don't see myself going too much to Utah. Frankly, that's most of these slates, right, where it's like if a team's pretty much fully healthy, even if they're missing their key guy like Donovan Mitchell, if they've got all these bodies, it can be a little bit difficult to go to those teams. So that's the case with Utah for me, but Portland side is interesting. All these dudes out, and I think Damian Lillard, 10.6K. I don't know what you guys are seeing on ownership on him, but he looks like a guy who could absolutely go off in this game. Another guy that's kind of got to do everything for this team. Usually has to play with CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, other guys, but now he is unquestionably just the main dude at home. I know Utah's a good team, but fact that Portland's at home here, 228 total. Utah only favored by 6. I think this could be a Dame time game. I've been off him almost all year, but I'm jumping back on Dame Lillard for this one. I'm expecting kind of a vintage Dame performance, 60-plus fantasy point type thing for Dame. So I'm in on him, especially on FanDuel where he's a little cheaper. And then the other Portland guys, you got to consider them, right, with how many dudes they're missing. Specifically to me, Nasir Little at 5K on DraftKings, and then Larry Nance, I think on both sites, makes for a pretty good play. 5.4K DraftKings, 5.7 on FanDuel. If you look at the last game, Portland ended up getting blown out in that game. But if it was close, Lillard, Nance, and Little were all going to play like 40 minutes, which I think would be the case again tonight. I know the matchup's tough, but I'll take my chances on those guys playing that many minutes at home. I kind of like playing them together, to be honest, right? Because I'm a little worried that Portland just totally sucks here. But I think if this game stays close, you're going to see a lot of Dame, and I think he takes Nasir Little and Larry Nance with him, frankly, to Value Town. So I'm in on Portland here.
Yeah, I like some of Portland too, man. I'm laughing.
I saw you laughing. I was just gonna keep going and ask afterwards. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was laughing. Yeah, I was listening to you, but this chat, I knew right when I said it too. DC, you were right. We got Jared. I'm in Utah. So canceled title. Utah. Is there internet in Utah? Then Murphy. I live in Utah. We got Rio. I'm in Utah. Eddie goes title talking down on Utah like there's so much to do in Wisconsin. What a cheesehead.
That's absolutely true. I would 100% rather live in Utah than Wisconsin. At least you should. I'm a mountains guy. Utah's got.
Oh, that's fair. No, yeah. I can take all this stuff. There's a lot more Utah people than I did expect. You were about right, DC. So hey, I deserve it. You can give me all the flack. Yeah, there ain't too much to do in Wisconsin. That's why I moved a little bit, but appreciate the laughs. Shout out to you guys in Utah. You guys hopefully don't have COVID though. So AP, Nasir Little, I think he makes for a strong play. Damian Lillard, I think is a good play. Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson. I think there are some pieces in this game. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I agree with DC here. Dame Lillard, the price tag's big, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw vintage Dame. Nasir Little is the guy I like though, 5K. Just showed a ton of usage last game. Love the matchup. Love just like position like wise how he's going to match up with Utah here. I'm off Powell, off Snell, obviously, and then like they really don't have anyone else. So I think Little is a good play. You don't need to force a run back, but if I were going to, Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson is who I'd look at. And then, yeah, we got decent news. Marcus Smart's out, so bump up Pritchard.
Yep, definitely. I think bump up Pritchard. Up to Lock Show will definitely cover all of that. People are still making me laugh in chat. More people are still somehow from Utah. So you're either trolling me, which I really don't think you are. I do think we have a lot of people from Utah. So
nobody that's not from Utah is claiming to be from Utah.
That's what I'm thinking too. But yeah, I mean, you the over for DC too. A lot of people watching Utah. We appreciate you guys. You're right. You guys can make fun of Wisconsin too. Last game of the night, we'll get into it. The Dallas Mavericks, the Sacramento Kings, 220.5 total. Dallas is favored by 1.5. On the Dallas side, Luka's still out. Hardaway, Kleber, Trey Burke, Cauley Stein, Boban went on the COVID list. I saw you tweeted about that, AP. As far as the Kings side, nobody is injured or on health and safety protocols, which you don't see very often. I'll go right back to you, AP, talk about this game.
Yeah, this is another one of my favorite spots on the slate. Hopefully at this point in time, my pieces in my lineup are looking good, have done their thing. You know, we got a little gap here, from the earlier games to the 10:30 game. Hopefully I'm sipping on a nice whiskey, and hopefully we get a really phenomenal game environment. Kings play at a fast pace, not very good defensively, although they do get a few pieces back here. But still, like we've seen Dallas involved in quite a few blowouts, but we've seen them play Utah really close. We've seen them play the Bucks really close. I think if the Kings stay in this one, which they should, they have all their pieces back. They're all healthy. They definitely should stay in this one. I think Jalen Brunson, Kristaps Porzingis are absolute late game hammers. And I don't think you need a run back, but one of my predictions is the Mavericks really struggle against opposing bigs. We saw Rashawn Holmes absolutely crush them earlier this year in very limited minutes. There's risk though. Damian Jones is playing really good. The guy, a deep tournament play, Millie Maker type play. Marvin Bagley, if he starts, he started last game. He's 4'6", and got right around 30 minutes. If they're going to give him that in this matchup, I like it. Now, it's a very risky play, especially with the Kings healthy, but Marvin Bagley getting 30 minutes, if they need offense to keep up with the Mavericks here, he could definitely get it done. But I definitely like Jalen Brunson and Porzingis as kind of a late game hammer.
I like it for sure. I agree. Those are my two really people that I have interest in, Porzingis, Brunson. DC, you see it the same way, or is there something else we're missing?
Yeah, Porzingis and Brunson from the Dallas side, probably not going to go elsewhere beyond those two. Nice price tag for Brunson specifically on FanDuel, and Porzingis has been crushing it. So I have a good matchup. I have no problem with that. I laughed you when you mentioned Marvin Bagley, AP, because he is currently in my FanDuel lineup, sitting there at 4K at a power.
He's starting, man. I don't trust the rotation at all. Gentry,
I don't either, but they started him last game. I assume he's going to start again this one. He play close to 30 minutes? No,
here's the thing. No one's going to play him because I've seen some sites project Metu to start. I really don't think he's going to start. I do think Bagley is going to start again. He played fine.
I think they're going to give him a chance, right? To play his way out of this situation. A new coach, obviously, and I mean, this guy is still a what was he, the third overall pick or the second overall pick, whatever.
Here's like the thing. He sucks. He's a liability defensively. And so what you need, like Porzingis should absolutely smash. You need Gentry just to like, hopefully he's producing on the offensive end of the court. If he's hitting shots, he's going to let him run. And so that in tournaments is why I would have consideration. But we need him to start because they do get a few pieces back. Lynn and
has to be in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Lynn and Davion Mitchell are back. Not guys that are going to start, but we do want to see Marvin Bagley in the starting lineup.
Yep, for sure. I think the Kings side is probably going to go a little overlooked now that they're healthy and the starter, you don't even know about that. I wish I could go to my boy Tyrese Halliburton, priced way up, but playing good basketball. I think it's mainly just a KP or Brunson side, though, for me. Kind of a stay away game. Got through all 8 games. Chat, you absolutely are still making me laugh. This Rick's comment really made me laugh. He said, Utah women are beautiful. I've been to Miller Park and the stadium was full of slump busters. Never heard the term slump busters, in my opinion. I think I know kind of what you're saying. So, Rick, you made me laugh. Maybe I'll have to go to Utah for the woman. I guess I will not try and pick up anyone at Miller Park for a girl, though. Thanks for making me laugh, Rick. Shout out to everyone in Utah, too. Glad the chat knows how to have a little fun.
Okay, have you never heard of the term slump buster?
That must be.
Really understand what it means.
I've heard of ghost. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of Ghostbusters. Slump busters is not a term that I've ever heard of in my 23 years.
Maybe it's just out here, in the mountains, Utah, Colorado. We're using the term slump busters.
Yeah, never heard of the term. But yes, I definitely can take a guess at what that means. Thanks for making me laugh, Rick. All this chat. Appreciate you guys hitting the like button. If you haven't hit it, you want to hit it, we appreciate it. It's about that time for the plays of the day, though. DC, I'm going to throw it to you first. The mom's basement play of the day. Who do you got for us?
I'm going with Dame time out in Portland tonight. I think Dame is going to have a monster performance. I think he needs to against Utah. I'm not that worried about the matchup, given that they're at home. Utah a little bit, missing Donovan Mitchell. And Portland just doesn't have much else there. It's going to be all Dame. We've seen it time and time again. Hopefully this game stays close. And if Dame does anything in those first 3 quarters, we know what he can do in the fourth quarter. A little expensive on DraftKings 10-6, still willing to play him. And at $9K on FanDuel, going to be a staple of my lineups.
Damian Lillard, the mom's basement play of the day. I like it for sure. I'll go to myself for the Esso play of the day. Could be the Slump Busters play of the day, what Triz said. I know you're from Utah, so could be that. We'll stick with the SO play of the day. Maybe I'll have to switch if it goes bad, but give me Desmond Bane at 6.2K is the SO play of the day. I like the Memphis side. I like that game. Back-to-back 40 pieces. He's playing the high 30s minutes. I think he has a lot of upside, complete sniper. Desmond Bane as the SO play of the day, 6.2K. AP to cap it off for us, the gentleman's call of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, mine is a true Millie Maker, low-owned play. I'm thinking 5%, right around there, especially with all of the elite options at guard. His legs are back. He's got 2 triple-doubles. He's going to make it a 3rd in a row. Russell Westbrook, big-time triple-double tonight. Run it back with John Morant. And, it's going to break the slate. That's my call of the day.
Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, Desmond Bane. I like it for sure. In DC, maybe it's just an age thing because Brandon Thompson said, no, I live in southeastern Wisconsin. I know the term slump buster. Maybe it's just the younger generation. I don't know. Maybe it's just title and my buddies.
Big T's giving you shit in chat and Discord too about not knowing what never heard of it.
He was out in Colorado too, so I guess that doesn't really answer.
Maybe title never has a slump to bust. Maybe you're just always.
No, that I will tell you that for free though. That is not going to happen over here. It's Holden. It's a wrong host. If Holden was the host, that would definitely make some sense. But appreciate all you guys all hanging out, hitting the like. Very fun show. 8 games. Smart rolled out. Malcolm Brogdon rolled out. The Up to Lock show. Going to be very big. Allie is the host today, so make sure you go check it out. Big T, JSU, I believe, giving the winners. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. $2,500 tournament, $1 million up top. Good luck to all of you guys that are in it. If you're not in it, I hope you're taking down what you are in. Very fun show for AP, DC, Simon Behind the Sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.